Yeah, I wanted to tell you about my driver's license. It's right here in my pocket. It's like one of those plastic cards, credit format. It's really handy. And I haven't had that driver's license forever. I used to have an old paper version before and wanted to swap it into a new credit format. And I read a brochure with all the specifications, what you had to do. And I found one thing, that you're not allowed to wear hats in your driver's license. Or to put it the other way, you are allowed to wear hats in your driver's license pictures for religious reasons. Why? Well, I can do that. I am religious. I believe in a flying spaghetti monster. I'm a Pastafarian. I've been touched by his noodly appendages, and I was wondering what was the best headgear I could wear in my driver's license's picture. And that turned out to be a pasta strainer. Just when his noodly appendages touched me in the office kitchen, I was grabbing for that colander and put it on my head, had that picture taken, and went to the Department of Motor Vehicles to apply for the license. And there you go. That's fine that the sound is off. I was wearing the thing all the time, and nobody seemed to take offense. I filled in all the paperwork and went home and waited for my license to be done. Except it didn't happen. I received the letter a couple of weeks later and got an invitation to the public health officer. She had to check whether I'm mentally fit to drive. I told her I was wearing a hat for religious reasons, and she declared me sane immediately. So I'm one of the few people who is officially sane. The Department of Motor Vehicle didn't just issue my license, they sent a few other letters that I should send another picture. The picture is not fine, I mostly ignored those letters. And after a few years, in 2011, in July, they finally issued the license. Just shown you, and I took that pictures when I left the Department of Motor Vehicles and wrote a short blog post with that story. And I found out that the Austrian press agency apparently reads my blog, because an hour later or so I received a phone call and they asked me whether they could send out the story and the picture of my driver's license. I said, yeah, go ahead, nothing bad can happen. Nothing bad happened, except the same day I had a couple of interviews with Austrian TV and newspapers. The next day, all the international TV stations and newspapers, online magazines, blogs, etc. came in, mostly Germany. And one article ended up on the BBC website. That article alone has been shared 180,000 times by now, and went into Huffington Post and National Public Radio, BBC Radio, Spiegel, etc., etc., even the Rolling Stone. Sometimes I even meet people. Oops, did I just skip that? Oh no, that's another thing. That's Austrian Broadcasting Corporation, which decided to use my driver's license as a picture for a driver's license whenever they need one. Doesn't have to do anything with my pasta strainer. And yeah, sometimes I even meet people on the street wearing those pasta strainers. At least once. And another thing that happened was that somebody posted an event on Facebook, which is not there yet. Okay, that's another thing. That's my German colleague, Rüdiger Weiler, who's also a Pastafarian. And at this point in time, we have some sort of schism, because he thinks that a pasta strainer is not appropriate headgear for a Pastafarian, but you should wear a pirate hat or a pirate bandana. And that's what he did. He's wearing a pirate bandana and his driver's license. Yeah, that was the thing I mentioned before, somebody posted an event on Facebook, the Pastafarian Headgear Day International, October 12th, which is the date my driver's license was issued in 2000. And they asked people to wear pastas trainers and colanders and post their pictures on Facebook, and almost 2,000 people participated in Pastafarian Headgear Day International. See all these nice people? I've even seen the first wedding pictures of people wearing pastas trainers. But this is not only funny. People knew why I was doing this, and I've been doing this for a reason. Because I kind of felt annoyed that there are special rights for religion, and those people, they felt the same way. And the thing is, I didn't feel that I offended anybody by wearing a hat on my driver's license, but some people did feel offended. And the actual rule in the brochure is not even covered by law. It's unsolicited obedience by the state for I don't know which reason, but it happened. And the thing is that religion gets offended quite easily. You only have to think about the Mohammed cartoons or Mohammed videos, and as soon as you publish this, some embassy burns. And there's other things happening that anticipate this offense. There's various and numerous examples to prove that. One is the BBC in 2011 dropped the A, D, and B, C from their dates in order not to offend non-Christians, which is kind of ridiculous because we're all accustomed to the same date, and just dropping that or removing that label, nothing changed. And there's Lego. A couple of weeks ago, the Turkish community in Vienna felt hurt in their religious feelings because they thought that Jabba's palace, Jabba from Star Wars, looked like the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. The religious feelings were hurt, and the Turkish community is not even a religious organization, so they have just basically said that Turkish equals Islamic in that respect. So religion easily feels offended, and part of the problem is that the term freedom of religion is actually not suitable, because actually freedom of religion is part of a bigger and more universal concept, like freedom of belief or freedom of worldview or whichever you might call it. And in order to include non-believers in the term freedom of religion, the term negative freedom of religion was coined. And this actually means that something like positive religious freedom is positive affiliation with religion. And if you transfer that concept to race, you would have something like positive affiliation with race. And usually we don't speak of people as white or non-white, but we do when it comes to religion. So I suggest we stop using the term freedom of religion, because the concept of freedom of religion has become self-evident. You can choose or change your religion whenever you want to. And freedom of religion has become a tool to blackmail state and society, as you can see in a few examples I brought here, because freedom of religion, or the abuse of freedom of religion, influences laws. For example, when it comes to ritual slaughter, and there's a few guys having fun killing animals, it obviously seems to spark some sort of excitement. When doing the ritual slaughter, you must not stun the animal, because if you do, the meat becomes unclean, and that sort of uncleanliness can never be established by evidence. It's just a special right that only some confessions have in Germany, which actually protects animal rights in other respects. Then there's a well-known example of the kirband. It's a small knife that is to be carried by followers of the Sikh faith at all times, even children. children usually go to school, so little boys are required to bring the knife to school. And in Canada, the Supreme Court ruled that they're allowed to do so, but only members of the thick faith, not any other confession or non-believers. Then there's the whole issue of circumcision, which I won't go into detail and won't show any pictures here, but this is still a ritual that is performed on a substantial percentage of the male population. It doesn't serve any medical purpose, it's completely unnecessary, and it contradicts a couple of laws in many countries, including the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child and the Austrian and German Constitution. There's crosses in public schools. In Austria, more than half of the students in a school belong to a Christian confession. There has to be a cross on the classroom wall, and the cross is the only religious symbol that has to be here. When a father in Austria complained about that, the Austrian Constitutional Court ruled that the cross is not a religious symbol, but a traditional symbol. Because in Austria, a church and state are separated, so it can't be a religious symbol, which again is ridiculous. And let's not forget that there are 7 countries on this planet where still receive capital punishment if you're atheist. Now, is it wrong for religion to ask for tolerance? Of course not. You're free to ask for any behavior to be tolerated or legalized. It should be treated religion with respect, and the answer is surprisingly no. We shouldn't treat religious belief with respect just because it's religious belief. We can treat the right to believe anything you want with respect, but we can only tolerate religious belief if we choose to be bothered by it at all. If we choose not to be bothered, we can simply ignore religious belief or religious action. There's still a number of laws that are influenced by religion, and why is that? Is there any reason for it? Is there any factual ground where we can base this on? No, because religious laws, or laws in favor of religion, are based on belief. And these beliefs that explain how the world came into existence, that there is an afterlife, or how we can influence this afterlife, leads to categorical demands that are issued by those religions. And can you back these demands by evidence or reason? Apparently not. There is no evidence and there is no reason involved. You might say there is evidence to be found in the holy books like the Bible, the Quran, or the Book of Mormon, but this type of testimonial evidence certainly doesn't qualify as scientific evidence. And even though these belief systems existed for a long time, that doesn't make them any more true than any other systems. So the question is there any special reason why we should grant exemptions from general secular laws for beliefs that issue their own laws, how we should live, and at the same time immunize these laws against evidence and reason? I think the answer is obvious. The reason we still have these types of laws is because we have organized religion. Organized religion has nothing to do with personal faith. When religion becomes public, when religion is public, it's actually political. And the reason for that, we have to look into history, is the relationship between church and state. Again, if you go back in time, 14 million years, when everything started, then very soon mankind invented religion. And in the beginning, we had a system of proto-state religions, as I call it. So religion effectively legitimized power and brought order to social life. Then after some time, state religions developed, like Roman emperors. They found it quite convenient to govern people by employing something like a state religion. There's still state religions in many countries, for example, Korea, which is in the Pacific Ocean, where the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is the state religion. Then trouble started when there were more religions involved in society, and the state had to choose how to deal with these more religions. And one path you could go is that the state remains completely neutral, like in France, where we have the concept of laicity. What happened more often is the model of the, what I call a syncretistic state. This way, states kept adding more and more religions to the privileged status of the original state religion. And that's the model we have in most European countries. Effectively, this is a system of state religions where many have privileges and many others don't have these privileges. It also leads to the situation that you have to declare yourself before the state. You have to put in your religious confession and your registry certificate in Austria. I put TEDxESCPBerlin in there, of course. And this violates a basic principle of democracy, this equality. It stipulates that no religion is to be privileged or discriminated before the law. And there's good reasons to expel some people from that equality. And the only working model I can see of is the agnostic state, where the state remains neutral when it comes to religion or belief and does not privilege or discriminate any confession. By agnostic, that doesn't mean that there is a 50-50, I don't mean that there is a 50-50 chance that these supernatural claims from religion are true in any way. It just means that the state remains neutral. Does this have anything to do with atheism? No, it doesn't. Atheism is not about converting people to non-believers. When atheism again becomes political, it strives for the separation of church and state. So I suggest that the agnostic state is really the only thing when it comes to requests or demands where religion to actively remain neutral in any way. And before I finish my talk, you might have one question: where's that pastor's trainer now? It's in the Jewish Museum